So honestly, I know how Donald Trump can be a real bummer sometimes, but I want to tell you guys this. Americans can be really cool. And in fact, diversity is our strength, and I want to show you lots of different points of view today. And let's jump right in. So first, this is someone talking about different ways of protesting, and check this one out.
So you know how ICE is out here like this, covering their face, and then covering their receding hairline so that we can't identify them? People have come up with some ideas. The protesters of Minnesota have come up with some ideas, and it's magical. So, you know what's like really hard to get out? Like, really hard to get out? Glitter. Glitter. And you know what people are throwing at ICE right now? Glitter bombs. Sparkles. Sparkles. Because, you know, that's going to get, like, in crevices. You know, glitter, when it gets into places, even when you have a receding hairline, it'll get there. It'll get into those spots. And so when they're out there without their gear, we're going to be able to identify them with their, you know, glitter in their ear and their receding hairlines and maybe in their eyebrows. And, you know, it gets in your skin. It's, like, hard. It's hard to get off. Brilliant.
I never would have thought of that. But yeah, that theoretically could be a way to identify ICE with glitter. I've never gotten glitter on my hair or, you know, on my eyebrows or whatever, but I want to hear some thoughts out there if you guys have experience with glitter. But I just want to share with you again, the diversity of voices in USA in different ways to resist ICE. In one way, could be theoretically glitter. I want to hear your thoughts on that one. Listen to another one. This guy's talking about what kind of people would want to join ICE. Have a watch.
Did you fail the police academy but still want a badge and a gun? Not cut out for the military but still want to terrorize marginalized communities? Did you peak in junior high, both intellectually and sexually? Do you look like a toe that got stung by bees? Do you struggle to read words with more than 2 syllables? Do you have 0 skills, talents, or redeeming qualities as a person? If so, join ICE! Every worthwhile member of your community will rightfully despise you. Turn your fear, cowardice, and fragility into state-sanctioned violence. No experience required, and training only lasts 10 minutes. Ruin people's lives for no good reason. Solidify your place in the anal polyps of history. Your mail-order wife will develop a debilitating alcohol problem to cope with your sham marriage. Weaponize your self-victimhood by stepping in front of cars going 1 mile per hour and using it as an excuse to soccer moms. Serve the country your ancestors stole with pride you've never earned a day in your life. Join ICE. We'll be waiting. ICE. Legitimizing the biggest loser you've ever met since 2003.
That's the best. ICE, ignorance and cruelty enforcement, legitimizing the biggest loser you've ever met since 2003. And as I was saying, everyone has different ways to protest. And, you know, I need a laugh. I'm sure you need a laugh too. I also want to talk about the more serious stuff because I want to give you different points of view on this stuff, and everything moves people differently. And I want to show you this. I think this is from Philadelphia. This is Michael Morgan. He says, "Make racists afraid again." And it's fascinating because I didn't know the Black Panther still exists, is what we're talking about here. I looked it up. This says Philadelphia chapter of Black Panther Party provides support and intention between public and ICE. I used to live in Philly, if you guys don't know. I went to school there. I know the community, and I just know how it is. And I want to share some different points of view on this. So this is a guy who is explaining the Black Panther and a part of the movement. Have a listen to this.
All power to the people. Chairman Paul Bertram reporting for Active Community Defense Duty. Listen, 2 things that I need to run by you. Thing number 1 is, a lot of people are saying that we should not stand up against ICE because we're standing for people that aren't us. And Black Panthers only stand for black people. That is a lie. Huey P. Newton said that we are internationalists and we stand with all oppressed people no matter what color they are. That's the founder of the Black Panther Party that said that. So everybody who's running around talking about Black Panthers don't stand up for people other than black people don't know a damn thing about the Black Panther Party. That's thing number 1. Thing number 2, the Black Panther Party created something called the Rainbow Coalition, which is a coalition of Hispanics, Asians, whites, and blacks from all over the world working together to fight oppression. Again, Black Panther stood with the Mexicans, stood with the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans, stood with the Japanese, the Vietnamese. The Black Panthers did a whole campaign to end the Vietnam War because they stood with Vietnam. So for you guys who are talking all of this gibberish about, oh, you guys aren't following traditions of the original, who do you think our leaders are? Aaron Dixon is an original Black Panther, right? Aaron Dixon is an original Black Panther who walked with Huey Newton. That's our leadership. Billy Che Brooks, that was Fred Hampton's right-hand man. So you guys you sound stupid, to be honest. You sound like you don't really know what you're talking about. Doing a lot of hooting and hollering and don't really know what you're talking about. If you watch Huey Newton's speech, he specifically says, we are not black nationalists. We are internationalists. And we stand with all oppressed people across the globe, no matter what your ethnicity is. Come on, man. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. You telling us what we're supposed to be doing as Black Panthers, and you don't know the first thing about a Black Panther. All power to the people, though.
And these are the kind of voices that people need to hear. And it's hard to explain. I try my best every day. I always say you can read my book if you like, but when you go around and be it different states in USA, different countries around the world, you'll realize that people are pretty cool. Honestly, I always enjoy making new friends. I enjoy listening to this gentleman talk about the Black Panthers. He was talking about, we stood up to end the Vietnam War. If you guys don't know, I'm from Vietnam, so this speaks to me. But he's not just talking about Vietnam. He's talking about all kinds of people, and I believe the same things. Like we one way to say it is we should fight to help people who need the help the most. Right? They use the word oppressed. I would say people in need. And if you want to talk more like, religious kind of connotations, if you grow up in the church, like you should fight to help the homeless, like help people who are poor, like help people who need help. I don't know how to say it. And if you have the power to help people in need, you do. And I've always believed that. It's sort of why, I went into education instead of going into business. It's never been about making money for me. It's about helping other people. I want you to hear more of these points of view. It's very interesting. This is, the kind of things that we've been seeing, these sort of images where ICE come in and go to some, like basically a nurse's house, and people feel like they're alone. And I always try to tell you guys, you're not alone. America's filled with all sorts of cool people. I know sometimes it feels like man, everyone's whacked out and like all these crazy ICE people. Yeah, ICE people are crazy. Yeah, Trump is crazy. But you know what? It comes down to leadership. It comes down to leadership. If you had a leader that's like, hey guys, let's figure out ways to work together. Let's figure out ways to get people to have jobs. Let's help figure out ways to get food on the table. Make sure you got safe communities, good schools. Make sure you can have a great life. I've met so many cool Americans. Like we can all sit down and like have a beer together, And I always stress that out. I get it. You watch left-wing channels, like, oh, I hate the right, blah, blah, blah. You watch right-wing channels, oh, I hate the left, blah, blah. I never talk that way. I've never believed that kind of stuff, And I'm just showing you different points of view, and I just wish people would see more. So this is actually a really interesting one. This is also Philadelphia talking to Black Panther. Have a listen to this.
No ICE agent ever run up on me. I guarantee you they won't. I put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's going to happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, trying to find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no places where there are a lot of immigrants at. I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them and it needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't going to act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means them shotgun shells that shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are going to legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be fearful of the public. They should be fearful that the public's going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher. You meet them with equal force. All power to the people. No power to the pig.
So that's a different point of view, and that's the law of the land in USA. My point of view is I'm not thrilled about arming the populace. That's just me. But at the moment, the law of the land in Philadelphia is I guess you can carry around guns. I looked it up. I was like, dang. And every state's going to have different laws and that kind of stuff. That's a whole other argument or discussion. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. And I'd be curious, though, what Second Amendment people say. I'll just be frank with you guys, white people that really like the Second Amendment. What would they say about people in Philadelphia exercising their rights? I just curious on that one. I also want to show you this. This is another point of view. This is from Jamie Bunkowitz, and she was saying the Secret Service visitor house. So the Secret Service came to my door today because of a tweet. No threats, no violence, just words. That's where we are now. And it says, for anyone doubting me, here they are. She shares a picture and she's got videos. So let's watch a little bit of this together. Basically, she tweeted out this thing that said, when Karen Levitt gets what she deserves, I hope it's televised. And then I guess Secret Service visited her tweet after she tweeted out. Listen to this a little bit.
You don't want to perceive any ill will towards these people other than what you're saying.
Yeah, I want to see your trials.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. Do you go to a lot of the any demonstrations at all or things like that?
Why do you want to know that?
I'm just curious. For certain questionnaires we have to ask. Sorry, the green flag.
Sorry, I don't want to answer that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have any weapons in the house at all?
No.
Just curious. Okay. Have you traveled to any functions, Democrat, Republican, any sides? Any kind of rallies or anything like that?
I just answered that question, so I
You don't
don't
want to
answer.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Anything else you want to tell me about any other statements at all?
No.
Okay.
What do you consider crossing the line on social media?
It's a very good question. I mean, so technically, obviously, you have freedom of speech, right? Everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
Crossing the line is when you're going like a direct threat, like I will go kill the president, or statements like that, right? So those are obviously different threshold. You know what I mean? And we usually present those to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Something like this, veiled threat. It's is it a threatening nature? Now that I know that you didn't mean anything by it, it's basically a non-issue, right? So it'll basically end here. I'll go back, read my report.
So basically what's going on is they're monitoring social media. Someone must have complained or something like that. Who knows? This is what she tweeted out: when Karen Levitt gets what she deserves, I hope it's televised. And you could read that in any number of ways. Someone read it as threatening. And so then I guess they sent the Secret Service to her house, which is pretty crazy in itself. So, and then the guy himself, he's trying to be nice about it, said he got free speech. He's doing his job. And I know when you ever have any discussions on this kind of stuff, some people get angry and upset. Chris, why don't you swear and yell more at this particular situation? I'm not saying it's good at all. I'm just explaining the situation. My personal opinion, I think this is a bad thing because tweeting out something which to me is pretty innocuous on social media like that. I get what he's saying also too. If it's a direct threat, then we also check it out. But this is the environment that we're at. I also want to show you this because this is something that's going on in Minnesota right now. Have a watch.
I was in a signal group to observe ICE, and we were called in because one of our observers was being pepper sprayed, and they had just arrived watching ICE. ICE was door knocking in the neighborhood, and I pulled up. I started honking my horn. I got out with my whistle, and I was holding my hand up to show that my hand had nothing in it, and I was blowing with my whistle in my other hand. And the officer charged me with pepper spray, sprayed himself in the face first, unfortunately for him. Then he charged me again with more pepper spray, and then just clocked me in the eye, knocked off my glasses. I didn't do anything aggressive towards him at all. I was 20 or 30 feet away from him, and then he clocked me again with more pepper spray and punching me, and then they arrested me. And he said that I assaulted him. I had done nothing. I had just been using my whistle and showing my open palm to the officer.
The judge's order just came down, and there was a federal injunction saying that they cannot do specifically what you just said they did.
They did exactly all that, and we have observers that I hope recorded it all.
So what they were talking about here, actually, this just came out just a couple hours ago. Minneapolis judge bars DHS agents from arresting peaceful protesters. And they say things like, I'll just read it. It says, the district judge said her order will remain in effect until the operation concludes or conditions change so that it's no longer necessary. It bars federal agents from retaliating against peaceful protesters using pepper spray and other non-lethal munitions against demonstrators and stopping or detaining people in cars for following agents' vehicles. So this is actually important because recently someone threw, it was like I think it was a flashbang and tear gas and stuff, and it hit a car of kids. If you guys heard this one, it was just recently, and so then they ruled, can't do this to peaceful protesters. I'm just showing you different points of view. Everyone's gonna have a different way to, sort of, how can I say, express their protest against the Trumpers and things like that. And I think that's the beauty of America. I always say the same thing. Diversity is our strength. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. My point of view may be different than other people's point of view, but you know what? You can all get along together, and you're maybe different than everyone else's. So sorry, I'm having a hard time talking. I just, I just try my best to show you that we can all get along. And that's all I have to say. And I'll see you on the next video.